Yes, indeed. Welcome into another episode of Rip N Riff here on the Rip N Riff YouTube channel. That over there is at Mr. Jared Moore. I am at Pucking Thoughts, Adam Bernard. Happy 4th of July. It is, the best day of the week for 4th of July to fall would be on a Monday or a Friday. We got that. I've got some nice tri-tip that's going on the barbecue later. Looking forward to that. Nice long weekend ahead.
Yeah, as soon as we're done here, we're going to cook up a fresh batch of America balls.
Oh, well, I mean, that's probably what I should have made today. So now that tri-tip won't taste as good later because I'll have, I'll feel like I should have went with something else, but it's fine. It's fine. It'll be a good time. Going swimming a little bit today too, and then tomorrow is the big Back to the Beginning Black Sabbath Ozzy Osbourne finale show with bands like Metallica and stuff. I never thought I would look forward to a stream of a concert as much as I am, but here I am. Very, 7:30 a.m. Pacific when the first band hits the stage on the stream. So,
all right, yeah. So talk to me about this because, like, I've seen some concerts on stream before, but I guess this is like a festival or something that they're doing.
So what is happening is Ozzy Osbourne has tried to have tours going as far back as pre-pandemic 2019, but his health would sometimes come up. He couldn't tour. Then he got screwed by the pandemic because he had something lined up that got canceled. And then his health declined so poorly that he couldn't even do a tour anymore. And he didn't want to go out the way he went out. So he wanted to do one last. And apparently he's only going to be singing like a large handful of songs because that's all he can handle at this point. I guess when you live the lifestyle he lived, that's what happens at the end.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, so everybody that's everybody in the metal world, like Metallica, Slayer, Pantera, Anthrax, Mastodon, Guns N' Roses, and then there's a couple of a hodgepodge of musicians. And if you look on the lineup, you see Supergroup A's time and Supergroup B. So who knows how that's going to shake out? But you got like Billy Corgan, Tom Morello. Like it's just like a murderer's row if you love hard rock metal music. And Hailstorm will be there. It's going to be just a Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne song. So you get both catalogs there. And
you watch this on YouTube?
No, it's so if you go to the website Back to the Beginning for $30, you can buy the stream, and it's on a 2-hour delay from the show, so everything you're seeing is 2 hours behind. But yeah, and it's starting at I think 1:30 local time over there, because they're Aston Villa fans, Ozzy and Geezer, so they're playing at their stadium. Over there in Birmingham, which is also their hometown. And then it runs all the way till 10:30, I think, at night. So it's gonna be. I can't wait. It's fun.
Very nice.
But that's not what we're here for today. We're here to rip cards, and Jared's got some tasks to take here a little bit later. Let's get to the pack ripping lineup, and NHL Free Agency was this week. As we open up the packs and pull out either certain players or certain teams, we could certainly talk about what they did or didn't do. Obviously some big moves there with Mitch Marner, and then the trades with the Rangers and Hurricanes and others. I've got some 2021-22 Upper Deck Series 1, a Hangar pack there. That's a jumbo pack. And then we'll do a little football later on just because I had some mid-90s packs burning a hole in my pocket, some 97 Upper Deck Football Series 1. Jared, you're continuing with the hockey as well.
Yeah, I am doing the last of these 2022-2023 hockey Allure packs that I have, and you see all the rookies on the screen there. So hopefully we have some fun in games today while we're ripping the packs open. Absolutely.
And before we get to our Rip and Rant segment, I just wanted to show off something I pulled out of a blaster box out of a 2024-25 Upper Deck Extended Series there. Mr. Matvey Mishkov, Rookie Reflections. That's the thing. They load up the extended series with all the sets and all that. But that was a nice one to pull. I mean, obviously I was hoping for Celebrini, but I will take that as the silver medal there.
Yeah, you can't complain about that. I mean, it's part of what turned out to be a really good rookie class with him and that defenseman from the Montreal Canadiens. Name escapes me right now.
Lane Hudson.
Something or other. Yeah. I'm a little tongue in cheek here, but yeah, pretty good rookie class between them. So and it's a bummer that those two are in the East as well. So it's just all right. That's one more thing our team's got to deal with the next 15 years. So
yeah, and Mishkov is definitely. I think he's going to have a nice sophomore season. I don't think there'll be a slump there. He showed, and that now, especially now that Tortorella is not there. But it's time. We'll talk more hockey later. We got plenty of time to do that. But first things first here. It's time to kick things off on Rip N Riff with
my Rip and Rant.
Thanks, Dave. All right, so I've got nothing to rant about today, but Jared's going to take the floor here, and he's got a good one. So without further ado.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a certain prominent baseball insider this week who had a lot to say about Yankee fans. Let's say his name is Jeff P. No, it's too obvious. Let's go. Well, let's just call him Jay Passan.
Okay, I like that.
So, listen, when you talk about the New York Yankees, there's a certain level of standards and expectations that comes with rooting for that team. And it's championship or bust, or at least it's supposed to be. And I was reminded of this last night when I was thinking about this topic and what I wanted to say today. And I looked over at the wall off camera over here, and I actually pulled this down just to do a little show and tell here.
Oh, I love that banner. It's a nice looking banner.
Yeah, it's a very nice banner, but it's also a reminder of what the Yankees are supposed to be about. World Series champions, and you see all those years where they were the World Series champions. So, look, you and I were old enough. We grew up in the late 90s. The Yankees were a dynasty. They were in the World Series every year. Winning was the standard. You know, guys like Jeter and Rivera and Paul O'Neill, Bernie Williams, all those guys.
Fun team to watch and root for.
Right. And look, I get dynasties don't last forever, but there's an expectation that comes with rooting for the Yankees that not that they're in the mix to win championships. There's an expectation that they win championships. They've won World Series in the last 25 years. And like, look, maybe if you're from a little town like Kansas City or Cleveland, or maybe even like Chicago, winning one World Series is good enough. That's not good enough in this town. That's not good enough in New York. And look, does that sound like we're coming across as spoiled or entitled? Yeah, maybe a little bit, but that's why the Yankees are the Yankees and the other 29 MLB teams aren't. So when the Yankees aren't holding up their end of the bargain, you can't blame fans for getting pissed off.
And here's the other thing I'll say too. It's not like the Yankees won in 2022 and we're like, like, listen, it's 16 years. You know, it's been, you know, no, I'm sorry. Yeah. 16. Yeah.
It's been 16 years since 09. Yes.
So it's, you know, it's been long enough that, you know, like you said, there's a certain standard when you're same thing. The Dodgers have the same standard. Name me periods of time with extended periods of time where the Dodgers stunk. Same thing. You don't hear, nobody complains about them. I mean, yes, people do, but not in the same way they do about the Yankees. It's, you know, there's certain teams, you know, the Packers, the Steelers in football, there's higher standards for excellence. They don't tolerate extended periods of non-competing or not being championship worthy for very long. You know, I have no problem with the Yankee fans expecting the best. So
right. And to that point, like, you can't blame the fans for getting pissed off when, you know, they keep making the same mistakes that they keep making, which leads to them not winning. You know, you can't blame them for getting pissed off when Aaron Boone, who shouldn't be allowed to run a Starbucks, let alone a baseball team, when he pulls his starter too early because that's what the book says, or he makes up some excuse about Carlos Rodon's conditioning, even though the guy makes $170 million. He puts in some slappy like Mark Leiter Jr., who blows the game every time he's in there. You can't blame the fans for getting pissed off with Anthony Volpe strands like 50 million base runners because he can't hit. Never mind the fact that, you know, the Yankees sold us this bill of goods that he was going to be Jeter 2.0 because they were too cheap to go out and pay for a shortstop. You know, you can't blame the fans for getting pissed off because of the little things like, you know, mental errors, throwing to the wrong base, dropping the ball, not being able to run the bases, bad fundamentals, you know, all those things that the Yankees did in Game 5 of the World Series in that fifth inning that ultimately cost them the game and cost them the World Series. And then the Dodgers spent the entire winter dunking on the Yankees because of that. Yeah, you know, not when all those mistakes are still happening. You can't get pissed off at the Yankees. So I don't blame the Yankee fans when they get pissed off when the team doesn't hold anybody accountable. And you know, there's a saying where if you don't condemn it, you condone it. And guess what? Like, the Yankees have a history of condoning it because they haven't like nipped this in the bud over however many times it's happened over the years. So ultimately, I'm frustrated as a Yankee fan because the Yankees say that they're all in on winning a championship, but their actions on and off the field continue to say otherwise. So that's why we're pissed off as Yankee fans. And we shouldn't have to apologize for holding the team to a higher standard, because if we had lower standards, we'd be Pirate fans where nobody gives a shit. So we expect more. We demand more from our team. And when we see Hal Steinbrenner crying poor about the luxury tax while the Dodgers are spending $1 billion, or the Mets are signing Juan Soto away from us, and we see the Yankees get swept in Toronto to lose the first place in the AL East. They blow the they were up 3 games. Now they're down a game after the 4-game sweep, and they look lifeless in the process. Guess what? We're going to be pissed.
Here's what I'm going to say. And I understand if you're on the other side of the tracks, like, okay, like, we're complaining it's been 16 years and you have fan bases that have 1 in 40, never have had one, been one. I understand that. And there's validity to that. But the things that Yankee fans are mad about are things that any passionate fan base would be mad about with their respective team. Because a lot of these things have, not to say are easy fixes, but should have changed managers a long time ago. That's a classic move that teams do when teams are on the precipice but don't quite get there. You bring a new voice. Yankees refuse to do that. Cashman has, he's still there. And listen, maybe he's hamstrung by Steinbrenner. Maybe that's what the issue is in terms of why the Yankees don't do more. But yeah, it's like Steinbrenner cannot complain about the luxury tax when you're the Yankees. I'm sorry. Like,
right.
Use the Pirates. Okay. Whatever reason, they need to sell the team there. The A's, we've talked about it, what a piece of shit John Fisher is, FJF forever. Like, screw that guy. It's an embarrassment what's going on in Sacramento right now with them. That's a whole other thing. It's the things that the Yankee, like, we're close. Just like if you were a fan of your team and you were close and they're not doing things that maybe would make the change to get them over the line, and they're just sitting there with on their hands saying, well, what else can we do? You're seeing the Dodgers get creative with how they pay contracts out. That's another thing. It's not just handing money out. But why? Who's that financial firm that's figuring this out? And why can't the Yankees have them? I thought New York was the financial capital of the world. So you mean to tell me the Dodgers can get creative with deferred payments, but you can't?
Yep, 100%. And look, you mentioned Brian Cashman. I don't think it's right that he has better job security than a Supreme Court justice. And all I'm saying is, let's remind, history lesson. Brian Cashman did not build the late 90s dynasty teams. Oh. That was everybody before Brian Cashman when he took over. So he doesn't get credit for it. You want to give him credit for 2009? Sure. Right. Yeah, you can give him credit for 2009 because that's his team. And even though there were the remnants of the core 4 there, but like A-Rod and Swisher and Damon and Matsui and all those guys. Yeah, you want to give Cashman credit for that? That's fine. But if you're the Yankees, what could it possibly hurt bringing in a creative voice? Like, sometimes like things just get stale, and the Yankees are stuck in their way of doing things because either they're a slave to analytics where they're like, this is what the analytics say we should do, or they're just really stubborn about not wanting to change. So I don't know. The entire situation is just frustrating as a fan.
No, and like you said, also because of the fact that they just got swept in Toronto, that it makes things worse. You just lost the division. So I think it's time we have NHL free agency here. Maybe let's start talking hockey. Let's get to the pack. You got the first set of packs here, correct?
Sure, I do have the first set of packs. So we could definitely rip that and say hello to Annabelle as she makes her cameo. Yes. So we are going to rip this first pack here. Got some hockey cards here, and let's see. And we are going to start with Tage Thompson with the Buffalo Sabres, and Buffalo very busy so far, mostly subtracting, with the JJ Peterka trade, and they bring in Kesselring and Shane Doan, and now Bowen Byron may or may not be on the move. If the Blues can create enough cap space to do an offer sheet, we'll see if they go down that route again. So interesting team to say the least.
I've said the Sabres have become the new Coyotes in terms of being like, okay, they're just a team that everybody's gonna use to do whatever transactions they need to make, and they have no hope I feel bad for if you're a Sabres fan.
Here's what else is frustrating about the league in general. Yeah, and it's something you've probably noticed over the past few months is there's not a lot of sellers right now in the league, and it seems like the teams that should be going that direction are looking at what the Washington Capitals did with their retool and the rebuild, and they're like, well, why can't we do that? And you specifically have owners and GMs who are like, yeah, we don't want to do a full-on rebuild because, we've seen how long it takes Buffalo.
And but
so in a way, Buffalo is kind of ruining it for everybody.
But I mean, you talk about to go back to what we were just talking about the Yankees, like they just make the wrong decisions. Like it's like what was bringing Lindy Ruffin in it? Like Terry Pagula, if it wasn't for the fact that the Bills have been on the precipice of a Super Bowl every year, would be considered one of the worst owners in sports because like the way the Sabres is being handled brings down the average drastically from what's going on with the Bills.
Yeah, I mean, I could have told you the Lindy Ruff 2.0 hire would have been a disaster, but I don't really feel like dunking on him anymore. Let's see. Timo Meyer here with the San Jose Sharks. Obviously, he's with the Devils now. Devils busy adding some depth pieces. They should be better. They should be better this upcoming season. Adding Connor Brown and Evgeny Dodonov, or Big Daddy, as I guess he likes to be called, which is an S tier nickname. We certainly like that, and perhaps the most surprising move. Now it's before the market opened. 5 years and $1.8 million to keep Jake Allen.
I mean, he could have easily gotten. Like from a team like the Sharks that maybe wants like a veteran presence for an Askarov, he probably could have gotten more than that. But one thing people like to dunk on the Islanders and the Devils, but one thing that those two teams have going for them, the players that have families, Jersey and Long Island are great places to set up. So like you're set up there and established, you've got your ring, which he does. I know he was a backup on that team, but still he's got a ring. His name's on the cup. You're happy in Jersey, why leave? It was the same thing for Besser in Vancouver. I mean, like he could have gone somewhere else where he's got a better chance at winning. Maybe he got paid more, but if you're happy there, you're happy there. You can't fault somebody for that.
I think the other thing, and I feel like I'm Tom Fitzgerald now, being the water carrier / salesman for the franchise, but just bear with me for a second.
Sure.
You're in your mid-30s. You've been in the NHL for a while. You've certainly lived that life where you hop on the jet every night. You got a 2-hour flight to the next city for a road trip. There's no NHL team that's better in terms of travel than the New Jersey Devils, in the sense that you have 3 division rivals that are all within like a 90-minute drive of one another. So
you're centrally located amongst those 3.
You're centrally located. You're right by Newark Airport, where obviously all these teams fly charter, but you can fly anywhere right from there. If you're on the East Coast, it's a whole bunch of short flights, basically pond jumpers, like, flying up to Boston or Buffalo or, down to Carolina is not a, very difficult travel. Like the worst travel you have is when you go out west, but like, that's something everybody deals with. And, especially when you're in your mid 30s and like the last thing you want to do is hop on like a random 4-hour flight to fly to, I don't know, Winnipeg or wherever, I feel like they should do a better job of selling that to potential players, because I feel like that could actually extend players' careers because they don't want to deal with the travel.
No, I agree. There's definitely an advantage for playing on we'll say any team in the Metropolitan really has a great travel radius versus like a San Jose Sharks, where like, yeah, you got a couple of teams somewhat nearby in Southern California and Vegas, but for the most part, Edmonton's in your division. That's not a short flight. Vancouver's a couple hours. I mean, that's not that far, but like Minnesota, St. Louis, Dallas, like you're on planes for a few hours.
Yep. All right, let's move on here. We got Artemi Panarin, who's entering his final year of his big free agent deal with the Rangers.
How time flies. My God.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what they're going to do there, because it doesn't sound like they're particularly close to an extension, but it's still early. So I don't know. Maybe they extend him, maybe they don't. I don't know. We got Master Troll Brad Marchand here with the Color Flow jersey. Obviously, he's staying in Florida on 6-year deal, taking him to 43 years old. Good Lord.
You know what, though? Like, Vegas just keeps, doubling down on their window in Florida. The guys bought in, right people took the right discounts. And listen, that we could be looking at a dynasty here. that's even better than the Blackhawks were, or even if you want to say the Kings from that decade. But certainly since the Islanders, I mean, you look at that division too. Like, yeah, like Toronto never gets over the hump. Boston's in decline. Tampa, I feel like, is starting to maybe be towards the end of their window. Yeah, like I know Montreal's on the rise, but I mean, Florida's the king of the Atlantic as far as I'm concerned for the foreseeable future.
Right, and the one thing Florida has going for them that Chicago and LA didn't before them is the cap is exploding. Like as they're winning championships, like Chicago and LA had to deal with a very stagnant salary cap where they couldn't keep everybody, and Florida has basically found a way where, yeah, like last year they let Brandon Montour go, but for the most part, Florida's been able to keep everybody that they wanted to keep. So, and yeah, I mean they basically have like 10 or 11 core guys who are locked up now through 2030. So, the Panthers aren't going anywhere for a while. All right, sure. We got the guy who probably, I mean, look, I credit the player for securing the bag, but this might have been the worst contract handed out on July 1st. Tanner Jeannot with the here with the Nashville Predators. I don't know what the hell the Boston Bruins are doing, giving him 5 years and $3.4 million. The only thing I can think of is that the same guy. I don't even know if this is the case, but I'm guessing that Boston has somebody in their front office who also was in Tampa Bay's front office when they thought it was a good idea to basically trade their entire draft for Tanner Jeannot.
When I saw that, the only thing that came to mind was Tanner Jeannot's style plays well with the typical Bruins fan. The Bruins are going to be bad. At least that provides some entertainment value. That's the only thing. But still, it's a terrible contract.
Yeah, it's a terrible contract, and I'm not buying the Bruins as a bounce back team. All right, we got a rookie card here with Alex Vlasic. We'll go through the rest of these cards quickly, and then I got 2 more packs. Jordan Greenway with the here with the Minnesota Wild. Now he's with the Sabres, and Alexis Lafreniere with the New York Rangers. Obviously, the Rangers busy on July 1st with Vladislav Gavrikov, healthy contract there that everybody knew he was signing, but I guess that wasn't tampering. So who knew? So, and I'm not saying the Rangers are guilty of doing anything that other teams weren't guilty of doing. Like the Devils last year, like everybody knew the Devils were signing Brett Pesce and Brendan Dillon like 3 weeks before it happened. Yeah. So like it is what it is.
That's the thing. I guess it's like it breaks the rules, but if everybody's doing it, okay, whatever. It's just an accepted broken rule,
Well, the NHL says they're going to crack down on tampering, and I hope Mitch Marner comes up in here because
that one was like, come on.
At some point. Tampering's bad, but also we're going to look the other way when Toronto's basically like, yeah, if you don't give us Nick Waugh for Mitch Marner's rights, we're going to report you to league for tampering.
You know what? I guess the Maple Leafs are like, all right, if we're going to lose the guy, let's get something here, But everybody, the thing was, everyone knew he wasn't going back to Toronto, even if he wasn't going to Vegas, even if that was, there was Anaheim, there was the Kings. It was pretty much assumed he was going west. But yeah,
I guess he's going to get as far away from Toronto as possible. And if you're going to get away from Toronto, I mean, there's not a lot of better places you can go to than Vegas. So I get it. And that's going to be the ultimate. Was Mitch Marner the problem? Because Vegas is certainly a playoff team. They're in the playoffs every year, and they're certainly capable of doing damage in the playoffs. So we're going to find out if, was Mitch Marner the problem, or is he actually part of the solution? And the problems ran deeper in Toronto. So
the best team in the Pacific, as far as I'm concerned.
Yep. One of your favorite players in the league forever, Joe Pavelski with the Dallas Stars there.
That was the one Doug Wilson got wrong. And I understood at the time that they thought, the way he's played for as long as he's played, that drop off's coming. And then he went in Dallas and contributed for another 2.5, 3 seasons, like he always does.
Yep. And now it feels like Matt Duchene's the new Joe Pavelski in that respect.
Yeah.
Jack Hughes with the Devils there. So Jack Hughes currently rehabbing from off-season shoulder surgery. We shall see how that works out. Looks like a black parallel Noah Cates rookie card here.
Jury's still out on him, but he should maybe take a nice step this season.
Let's see. We have Dylan Cousins, who's now with the Ottawa Senators, part of that trade at the deadline there for, between him and Josh Norris.
Poor Josh Norris.
Let's see. I'm sorry?
Said poor Josh Norris. Went from going on a team going to the playoffs to Buffalo.
Yeah, I mean,
And they gave Toronto a fight in that series. There wasn't a cakewalk for them.
No, it wasn't. And like I'm thinking about that, and now I'm thinking about like poor guys who are stuck in Buffalo, and like just to give you like an example, like Utah was so excited about everything they were building, and like Josh Jones, son of by the way, Coyotes franchise legend, it's still the same franchise. Son of franchise legend Shane Doan and Michael Kesselring, who's a solid defenseman in his own right, and you go from being traded from one of the more promising young teams to a hopeless situation in Buffalo. So
you go from playing on a team where they weren't going to spend a dime on you, and then you move and like, oh, we have ownership that actually wants to invest in this team, and now you get to go to Buffalo where they don't know how to spend them.
Yeah, so good luck with that. Trevor Zegras, one of the newest members of the Philadelphia Flyers.
That's definitely a change of scenery. Hopefully works out for him. Not so hopefully, because Flyers.
It's hilarious they traded for him after John Tortorella got fired. Because that to me screams like last player John Tortorella would want to coach.
Yeah, he probably was like, "You get him, I'm out," and they're like, "All right, he's out. Let's go get him."
Right, and like, and it's funny. You think you go down that rabbit hole further. Like Joel Quenneville, like probably the first thing he did is once he got to Anaheim and started like unpacking his box at his desk was like, "You got to get the secret guy out of here." I need guys I can win with. I need guys I can win with. Bring me Chris Kreider. All right, rookie card here. Brandon Biro with the Buffalo Sabres. Jack Roslovic, I think he's still sitting on the market right now with the
sure is
Jackets. Excuse me. And Andrei Svechnikov with the Carolina Hurricanes, and the Hurricanes keeping busy themselves, winning the Nick Ehlers sweepstakes. So.
I think that worked out well. I mean, listen, they had to do something after the Rantanen thing kind of blew up in their face, and I think they made a good situation out of it. And to me, they're the best team in the Metro.
Yep, they had money to burn. I totally get it. I don't know if that's going to be enough to get them over the Florida hump, but
that's the thing. It's like they're the best team in the Metro, but are they better than Florida? And listen, I understood with the Keandre Miller trade. He wasn't going to take that next step in New York. He could very well become a really strong NHL defenseman for the next decade in Carolina. I don't doubt that possibility, but it wasn't going to happen with the Rangers.
No, and I thought the Rangers did a good job in terms of getting value there in the first round pick, a second round pick, and
Morrow, who was a second round pick,
and Scott Morrow. So I thought they did a good job there. All right, last pack here. We got William Nylander with the Leafs. We have Anthony Beauvillier, who just re-signed with the Washington Capitals for 2 years. Jared McCann with the Seattle Kraken. The Kraken, one of the more directionless teams in the league, in my opinion. Let's see. Eric Kallgren with the goaltender with the Toronto Maple Leafs, one-time Devil.
When I think of Seattle Kraken, I think of a lot of unders this year, or at least team total unders for them.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be very good at all. And if Joey Daccord does not stand on his head, that seems like a team that really has no chance of winning.
Yeah.
Let's see. Speaking of goaltenders, Jeremy Swayman here with the Allure Blockers subset there.
He will get traded, I think, in the next couple of years because the Bruins continue their decline. Like, what do you do? Like, you got to get him out of there somehow. Somebody will make it happen. I know it's a decent sized contract, but
yeah, and the contract doesn't matter. They'll get a healthy return for him. Let's see. Owen Power rookie card here with the Sabres. I feel like I've talked enough about the Sabres today. Clayton Keller with the Coyotes, now with the still have to get used to saying the Mammoth, but yes, he's with the Utah Mammoth. And arguably the best player in the league today in the non-Connor division, Nathan McKinnon.
There you go. There you go. That's a good way to close the Upper Deck Allure. Now, we're going to keep the NHL free agency talk rolling here because I've got a Upper Deck Series 1 Hangar pack, jumbo pack here. Let's get the Rip Cam up on the screen. Wow, I mean, you talk about a segue literally at the top of the pack. You said Connor McDavid's name. There he is. Wearing that pandemic orange-yellow jersey, orange Oiler jersey.
Yeah, and if you can't tell that it's the pandemic, just look in the background when they had those banners up. That might be bubble era. That might be or that might be sometime that.
Well, that was the Canadian bubble. I remember they had the Canada bubble and then the United States bubble.
Yeah.
And then you talk about the Avalanche and McKinnon, Gabriel Landeskog. He'll be back for a full season next year. That's going to be one of the more fun storylines to follow. We got Dennis Gurianov with the Stars. We got Justin Schultz with the Capitals. Here's a guy that got traded, John Gibson, going to the Red Wings. I thought the Ducks did a good job. They got Mrazek back. It's a good, solid fellow countryman for Lucas Dostal to back him up, get some advice, all that stuff. And I don't know why Edmonton couldn't find a way to make it happen with Gibson somehow, but good for the Red Wings to actually try and maybe take one last stab at actually having a goaltender.
The most surprising part of that trade was that the Ducks didn't have to retain salary on it. Detroit was willing to take on the entire thing. And I say that to say this, and I'm pulling up Detroit's page right now on Puckpedia. At what point can we start talking about how Steve Yzerman has no idea what he's doing?
Yeah, he's terrible. He's terrible. I don't. Maybe maybe it was Julian Brisebois who was working with him for a portion of his time in Tampa. That was really the brains behind the whole thing. But yeah, the Yzer plan is, we talk about directionless, teams like Buffalo, Detroit. Yeah, fine. Bring back Patrick Kane. But it's not like they're trying to be bad enough like the Sharks were to get like that top prospect and then bounce back again. They're happy middling in that bottom 8 range.
Right. And obviously the Atlantic Division, you had Montreal take a step this year, you had Ottawa take a step this year. Now, I'm not necessarily buying either one of them in the big picture, but you still have to give them credit for making the playoffs. But I look at their additions this offseason, Mason Appleton, 37-year-old James Van Riemsdyk, and obviously now in net you have John Gibson, and I don't know if they did anything on defense here. I guess whoever.
Ekblad and the Red Wings were linked at one point, and then he stayed in Florida. So who knows if that rumor was true? But I mean, maybe they were trying to do something, and a lot of players I'm not going there right now.
Yeah, but I mean, those are excuses, though. It's your job to ultimately land the players, and Yzerman is a perfect example of, and we've talked about this before in the show. This is why you never hire your franchise icons, because the Red Wings can't fire Steve Yzerman. I'm sorry. So, what do you do? You're just stuck.
And don't get me wrong, there's the other side of the coin. Like right now with the San Francisco Giants and Buster Posey, after getting the acquiring Rafael Devers, Posey could probably spit on somebody and they'd be like, oh, it's great. But there will come a time, like you say, where he doesn't got it anymore and you got to change. And then now you're firing one of the top players in your franchise's history. It's a bad move.
Yeah, you just hope Yzerman gets bored and he wants to go play golf or something in his golden years.
Well, we'll see what happens with the Wings this year, but there's no playoff expectations. There's Jakob Silfverberg there. So back-to-back Ducks there. Joel Farabee with the Flyers. Jordan Stahl, we talked about with Hurricanes. Chandler Stevenson, we talked about. He's pictured here with the Golden Knights. We talked about the Kraken and just no expectations there. Now here's Seth Jones, pictured with the Blue Jackets. Obviously now a key member of that Panthers team we were talking about earlier. Columbus, really, other than the trade they made to bring in, Miles Wood and
Charlie Coyle.
Charlie Coyle. I thought maybe they'd try and go and get an Aaron Ekblad type. Apparently he was staying. We'll see if they can repeat what they did last year. Jet Greaves is going to be the guy now, so we'll see how he handles the crease. But I know it's probably tough to get players to go to Columbus, but I thought they would try and do a little bit more. But and again, maybe they tried and they.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt you. The good thing with Columbus is they have a lot of cap space. I mean, obviously, a lot of that has to do with, rest in peace, Johnny Gaudreau. That's how a lot of that cap space opened up. But they still have a lot of cap space.
Yeah.
So, and you certainly have assets to go and make a trade to add somebody. So, but yeah, I could see the Blue Jackets being players for, if a big time, star forward shakes loose somewhere, I could see them potentially being players for a trade there. The problem with Columbus, and you mentioned it, is you have to sort of pay the Columbus tax. And that's the best way I could describe whatever the hell that Provorov contract was, because that was one of the worst contracts handed out on in this run of free agency here.
I mean, part of it was an extremely thin defensive market, and he was the second best defenseman available. And like you said, it wasn't a well kept secret that Gavrikov and the Rangers were hot and heavy with each other. So Columbus probably was like, okay, we can't afford to lose a defenseman if maybe they caught wind that like Ekblad was staying, and it's like, all right, let's keep the guy we got because he was the third best defenseman available at that point. So, that sometimes you overpay to keep your guys. Like you say, you got to pay the Columbus tax.
I guess, but like
he's not that good.
I feel like there were some decent defensemen out there. Like I know the Kings got dunked on for. I'm not defending
Dumoulin and Ceci
contract. I'm not defending Cody Ceci contract because I think Cody Ceci stinks. But like, you could tell who didn't watch hockey last year when people are shitting on the Brian Dumoulin contract, because Brian Dumoulin was the Devils' best defenseman in that series against Carolina.
Yeah, the Ceci. Listen, Ceci's been bounced around. He was in Edmonton, then he got traded to the Sharks, and then then he went to Dallas. Now he's in LA, and listen, in that system, he'll be a little bit better too because they play a little more defensive minded. So that'll help him a little bit. Yeah, I mean, Dumoulin he is what he is. He's a reliable third pairing defenseman that can play on the penalty kill. And you got Vegas and Marner now. You got McDavid and Draisaitl in your division. Celebrini, Will Smith. In the next few years they'll be better. Like, yeah, you need defensemen in the bottom of that. We got Josh Anderson with the Canadians. They got Noah Dobson in that trade with the Islanders. I thought that was a good move for both sides. Canadians defense now is set up. You got a puck mover and you got a stay-at-home guy on each pairing. They're a team that could go on the rise this year in the Atlantic.
Yeah, and I hate that the Islanders actually got rid of Lou, because now it seems like they're heading in the right direction a little bit. I would say if I were the Islanders, I would not be so attached to guys like JG Pageau and whatnot, and guys like that who have some trade value. It's like you probably should be trading anybody over the age of 30 who has some value. So like if teams are calling on Bo Horvat, you probably should be listening on Bo Horvat. So and obviously the Islanders are a bit of a miss. Oh, and by the way, the Islanders, so you remember there were those reports around the deadline that Kyle Palmieri was going to be extended, but like I guess the deal wasn't officially done yet. Knowing Lou, the contract was probably done, just sat in his desk drawer until he got around to filing with the league. But like if I were the new GM walking in there, I'd be like, I'm not fucking re-signing 34-year-old Kyle Palmieri. Like,
sorry, buddy.
Yeah, the previous guy might have agreed to that, but like this thing ain't signed. I ain't doing it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, again, that was a guy that would have fetched them something at the deadline, 3rd round pick, something, just just a piece of collateral, and unbelievable. Well, that's why Lou is not doing anything anymore. See, we got Lars Eller here with the Capitals. I forget where he signed now. He's with somebody else now. I saw his name pop up.
Geez, I forget. Yeah, he signed, I want to say Minnesota.
That would be a nice signing for them because they need
Ottawa. He signed Ottawa.
But yeah, I mean, listen, bottom, 3rd, 4th line center. He's still giving you that night in and night out. Dylan DeMello, the Jets there. We got Charlie McAvoy with the Bruins. We talked about them and how far south we think they'll be. Jake Gensel with the Lightning. Well, there with the Penguins. Talked about with the Lightning how we think they're the beginning of the end for them potentially. We got Kevin Hayes with the Flyers, TJ Brody, the Leafs, Justin Hull with the Leafs. They bring back Tavares on a friendly deal. They get Wah in the trade with Vegas. Nyes gets the contract extension. They make the trade for Michelli. Listen, they're not better than they were last year, but I mean, they could still be a very good team.
And here's a weird thing to say about the Toronto Maple Leafs. They still have some salary cap space.
I know, it's weird feeling that way.
Very weird to say that. And look, they don't really have a whole lot of trade capital because they've traded so many picks already, but they could potentially be a player to add somebody at the deadline in that like $6 million range. And they have enough smaller contracts on their books where they could move 1 or 2 of them out and figure something out. Like, yeah, they're not quote unquote better without Mitch Marner, and replace him with Matthias Michelli and Nick Waugh. Like, I totally get that, but you can build a deeper team by freeing up that $11 million from Mitch Marner, and they're in a position to do so. So we shall see what happens.
You got Jeff Carter there, a longtime NHL vet. Jeff Petrie, who now takes the vet minimum to go skate on the Panthers' third pairing. Good for him. No, that's not even fair. There are teams that Petrie could still be a second pairing defenseman for.
I don't like that deal as much as I liked the previous deals for like Oliver Ekman-Larsson and Nate Schmidt, mostly because I don't think Petrie's a very good skater anymore. But he is a solid veteran defenseman, and I'm sure it'll work out for Florida. Go play third pairing minutes and go hit somebody.
Listen, Petrie and Kulikov as a third pairing is pretty solid. I know those guys are past their primes, but as a third pairing, why not? Mikko Koskinen, another one of the Oilers goaltenders, has just never worked out for him. I'm not even going to turn him the right way. We're going to move right on. Noah Hannafin, now with the Golden Knights, part of that, class of the Pacific Division. Josh Archibald there with the Oilers. Nils Hoglander with the Canucks, another team that can't figure out what they're doing, because it's like you're trying to build around Pettersson, but you keep Besser and you get Evander Kane, but you have the whole Quinn Hughes thing hanging over your head. So, that doesn't help them. And then you're paying Thatcher Demko, who's a goalie who's got injury issues. Did you ever hear about Rick DiPietro? Maybe you want to look at that as a reason to not give them. So, I just don't know what they're doing.
They're trying to quote unquote contend. The problem is the roster is not very good, and they've left themselves no real flexibility to go and do anything. And obviously they, boy, this is a team that hands out no move clauses like it's Halloween candy. Good Lord. I'm just looking boy, Connor Garland got a no move clause. Good for him. But yeah, you look at that. I guess they got Evander Kane coming off the books this year. And, but that,
the one thing I will say is Vancouver, once you go there, you probably don't want to leave. It's a beautiful city.
Oh, it's a good city. I'm not, shitting on Vancouver, but it's a team that doesn't have direction, and it feels like they're trying to delay the inevitable with the whole Quinn Hughes thing. And I feel like everyone assumes Quinn Hughes is going to wind up with the Devils, and he probably will at some point. But yeah, they just seem like they're directionless at the moment.
Got Anton Khudobin, Stars, Vitek Vanacek there with the Capitals, part of that Stanley backup on the Stanley Cup winning Florida Panthers. One of the worst contracts in sports, Darnell Nurse. And then with that, which, a lot of Edmonton's problems start with that contract. The reason they can't upgrade the crease starts there, but they still got to figure out a way to do it. Sebastian Aho, talked about the Hurricanes earlier there. Best defenseman in the NHL, Cale Makar. Colorado should be back in the mix again. Can make an argument, second, third, fourth, fifth best defenseman in the NHL, Rasmus Dahlin.
I would not, but I understand what you were saying.
Fantasy perspective, sure. Maybe on the ice, different story. Still the top 10 defenseman. I wouldn't put him worse than that. The guy that is not going anywhere from the Islands for a while, Alexander Romanov. Just signed the deal with them. That's his debut date back in 2021. The Canadiens Leafs, talk about a debut game. And then the Devils MVP this year, Nico Hischier.
Yeah, and one of the more perennial underrated players in the league. Basically does everything for the Devils. Plays all situations, plays against the other team's top competition. Had a career high in goal scoring this year. So, I think he had 36 goals or something this year, and very good offensive season. So, yeah, and he will be interesting, by the way, because he will be hitting UFA in 2 years. So I would imagine the Devils do whatever they have to do to keep him, but it's not done until it's done.
If you were to ask a coach, a scout, to be make a list of things you want in a top line center for your NHL team, Nico Hischier has them all. Yeah, it's just, that's the easiest way to put it. He could do everything you want a top line center to do. Let's go to the 97 Upper Deck Football here. We move things along on this 4th of July edition of Rip N Riff. Hope you're having a good day with your family at the beach, barbecuing, whatever you're doing. All right, let's start here. We start with a Terry Glenn game dated. Glenn sets the NFL rookie receptions mark at the Giants. Look at that shoulder pads, that cowboy collar for the Giant there. That's something. You don't see those anymore.
No, you don't. That's football.
All right. So unfortunately, this card, we're just gonna put that there and then throw it away.
Oh no. Is that what I thought it was?
It sure was.
Oh,
the cat can play with that one. But this one's a nice one. Little die cut Dan Marino team there. That's a good one. That's gonna have to go. That's probably pull of the day right there.
Yeah, I can't compete with that.
I mean, no, you had I thought your Marchand color foil was a good one. We got Devin Bush here with the Falcons. Also, look at that cowboy collar. It must have been big in the 96. If it's a 97 pack. We got underrated receiver in his time, Tony Martin, the Chargers there, San Diego Chargers. We got former Giant quarterback Kent Graham, back in the Dave Brown, Kent Graham era. It's forgettable for the Giants fans.
Very, very forgettable. Yes.
We got, let's see here, Lake Dawson, Chiefs. One of the hardest hitters of his era, Mr. Lawyer Malloy with the Patriots there.
Yep.
That guy will knock the snot out of your entire face. Let's see here. We got Carrie Blanchard, Colts kicker. We got Chad Brown, a good defensive lineman with the Steelers. And listen, this is a good way to close a pack here. You always love to close with a Hall of Famer and one of the best at his position, Mr. Bruce Smith.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And if you go back to that Lawyer Malloy card for a second, you see he did lay the hit on somebody there. That might be Amani Toomer on the ground. I can't really tell.
Could be Amani Toomer, could be Ike Hilliard. Possibilities there in that era. But yeah, I mean, like you pointed out, he's standing up. He's like, look what I did. And whoever that Giants receiver is, he doesn't look like he's getting up in the next 15 seconds either.
Yeah, he needs a minute. He probably got that wind knocked out of him.
Yeah. And then, like, just to give you, like, look at Bruce Smith's freak strength there. I mean, look how jacked that guy is. You can actually see, like, the different, like, muscle groups within the bicep. And he was an animal. Couldn't stop him.
Unbelievable.
There we go. A little 1997 Upper Deck football to wet the beak there. It's been a little while for football, so why not? There's the poll of the day, I think. I don't think we have to. I mean, your Marchand color foil is pretty good, but that's a die cut merino. That I might be able to sell that for something paper money online instead of just like 50 cents. I might be able to collect like a dollar or two for that
one. Folding money.
Yeah,
I agree with you. Yeah, that's the poll of the day.
Yeah, you can't even call pizza money anymore. Now I hear slices of pizza go for like $4 or $5 now. I remember used to go in for like $2 and get a slice and a drink. But that'll do that.
I remember in high school, like when whenever like the various like groups would want to do like fundraisers, like the Key Club or like the Drama Club or the band or whoever, they would just order a bunch of pizzas and sell them for like $1 a slice, like after school. So yeah, you would always get like 2 slices there, and then just walk over to the vending machine real quick and get like 75-cent can of Coca-Cola, and it's like, there you go, nice late lunch there.
I would kill for just like to go back to an afternoon of walking home from like 7th grade, stopping off at the pizzeria, grabbing a slice, maybe playing a video game there while you're there. And yeah, give me an afternoon of that. That's nostalgia right there. Speaking of nostalgia, let's do a little starting lineup figure 5 here. You know the deal by now. And if you don't, it's Jared's got 5 questions to figure out who's in the box. If he gets it right, it opens up. If not, it goes back in the stash. Today, going to be doing a little baseball here. I figure we started talking a little baseball there with Jeff Passan's comments about the Yankees and how we're allowed to feel how we feel. I figure we'll close with a little baseball here. So without further ado, you may ask your first question.
Interesting. An American.
I only caught the tail end of the question. Yes, is this player American? Yes, he is American. 4th of July. Great first question.
Okay. Is this player in the Baseball Hall of Fame?
For sure.
For sure. All right. Is this player a world champion?
He is a two-time World Series champion.
Two-time. Did this player win his championships with the New York Yankees?
No, but he did play with the Yankees.
Okay.
And I'll go further. One of his rings you for sure would associate with the team he played on. One of them you might have forgot he played on that team. Because I just had to double check where the second one
was. Is this player an outfielder?
Yes.
Outfielder, Hall of Fame, World Series champion, two-time. Played with the Yankees, but didn't win his championships with the Yankees.
Correct.
Now, this might surprise you. I'm actually struggling a little bit with this one. So I'm thinking a little bit.
One more question.
Oh, I have one more. Oh, I thought I went through them all.
Oh, you got one more.
Oh, okay. I got one more. All right. So that's very helpful. Let me think about this for a second.
He has won an MVP. He was a 10-time All-Star, Gold Glover, 3-time Silver Slugger, and an ALCS MVP. Thank you, Baseball Reference.
Oh, that's a lot right there. He's a former MVP, 10-time All-Star. Former LCS MVP.
Yes.
I don't know why I'm drawing blanks here. I really don't. I feel like I should know this guy. Did this player win his championships before he got to the Yankees?
It was after he played with the Yankees, but he played with the Yankees in the 80s.
So he played with the Yankees in the 80s, and then he won his championships. I don't know why I'm fucking drawing a blank here.
It's a tough one. I mean, there's one hint I can give you would be a dead giveaway.
No, I don't want you to do that. I'm just gonna throw a guess out there.
You've gotten them right when you've thrown out random guess Hail Mary guesses. Take a stab.
Is it Dave Winfield?
That's a hell of a guess, but unfortunately, not the right guess.
It's gonna really irritate me when you reveal it. All right, I got it wrong. I get it.
No, I accidentally had it on loop because of the bed. Ricky Henderson.
The late great Rick Henderson. Yeah, I should have known that.
If I had said he had led the league in stolen bases 11 times, that would have been a giveaway. But Yeah, his resume is freaking impressive. Yeah, and he won his ALCS MVP. I want to say with the other World Series ring came with the Blue Jays in '93. So that's the one I wasn't. That's the one that wasn't as obvious there. But good. I mean, Dave Winfield was a really good guess. He would have had a figure, and he played. He
it's not right. Yeah, 12-time All-Star. He did win a championship, but because he was on the Blue Jays, but he wasn't on both the Blue Jays teams. So
was he on the '92 or the '93 team?
He was on the '92 team.
So
really, look at this year he had as a 40-year-old. Finished 5th in MVP voting, 4.1 WAR, 290, 26 homers, 108 RBIs as a 40-year-old.
You know what's funny is like Ricky Henderson was on the '93 team and not the '92 team. So he kind of like he took Winfield's spot from the '92 team in essence. That's kind of cool.
And then Ricky, and then obviously won with the A's in the late '80s.
'89 against the Bay Bridge series where the earthquake, and then they got swept by the Reds the following year. And I remember the story goes, Marge Shop, the owner of the Reds at the time, was pissed that they won in 4 because they didn't get the gate revenue for Game 5, so she did nothing for the team to celebrate. They basically celebrated with like Pizza Hut in the locker room. That was their like celebration.
I mean, that would rule if they were 12.
Yeah, Little League World Series, time of your life, absolutely. Not professional baseball.
I guess he's not coming out of the box, so it is what it is.
Total Hockey Now, we totally recap all of the big free agent moves and discuss that. No Maki draft there as ESPN screwed us as they decided to go down for maintenance right as we were about to start. All about the jersey.com. What's coming up there for Devils content?
I don't know. I'll write some words about something.
Something about players in red jerseys playing hockey, and of course YouTube at Jared Moore Poker. Any fun plans from any poker plans this weekend?
Yeah, I'm sure I'll donate and lose some money at some point.
Hope it was a good night at the casino for you last night. Everybody stay safe. Enjoy your 4th of July. And enjoy the long weekend and enjoy the Black Sabbath farewell show. Ozzy Osbourne farewell show tomorrow. But for at Mr. Jared Moore, I am at Fucking Thoughts Adam Bernard. Be back with you soon with an all new episode of Rip N Riff here on the Rip N Riff YouTube channel.